Hello, Pokemon trainers, and welcome to the King's Court. Okay, so really quick, if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for clicking on this video, and if you are a new viewer, also thank you so much for clicking on this video. This is going to be part 38 of what I call the Path to Power series. Basically, this is a series where I try to climb the online Pokemon Scarlet Violet VGC ladder, and if you're familiar with the channel, I've been utilizing and really starting to do pretty well lately because some of these battles that I've been getting, like, because what I do is basically I try to play test, all that sort of good stuff online. My Giratina's got paralyzed. I try to basically collect as many battles as I can, and I come back with the best ones, and I also just basically you know, go over each move that I make, give the play by play, and also give some examples of what I would do differently in the future. And these last few ones that I've recorded have actually been pretty crazy. So that's actually it for the intro. A bit of a long intro right there. Thank you so much. You made it this far already. Like I said, I've been using my favorite Pokemon of all time, Giratina, in every single one of these battles, and I'm really starting to enjoy this. Like I said, these have been some of my favorite videos to record lately. And shoot, if you have anything, let me know in the comments. Like if you got any suggested teams you want to see me try out, EV spreads, tons of stuff, anything, let me know. And pretty much everything. So I don't know what that was right there. For a sec, it looked like my camera glitched for a sec. That was weird. Anyways, so my opponent's actually going to terrestrialize their Grimmsnarl. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. This is actually a really good read of my opponent. I was gonna try to fake out on the Grimmsnarl because I did not want them to set up their barriers and all that. And it looks like their Annihilate was gonna try to use Final Gambit, but luckily it didn't work because Final Gambit's a fighting move and Giratina's Ghost, obviously. So Shadow Ball, and there you go. So that took care of the Annihilate actually pretty quickly. Again, I'm a little bummed out. I really like Annihilate. And my opponent's going to send out Miraidon. And luckily, their electric terrain is already set up. So hopefully, a couple more turns, if I can wait it out, I should be able to basically knock out the Miraidon so I don't have to worry anymore about electric terrain. This is the same team I've been using obviously Giratina, who's, the main star of the team. And as well, I've been using Zamazenta and Tornadus lately, as well as the tried and true trio of Incineroar, Rillaboom, and Rapid Strike Urshifu because it was too good not to play. And the knockoff is almost going to knock out the Grimmsnarl, almost. So I switched out my Giratina to go into my Zamazenta because I was worried they were going to try to hit me with like a Draco Meteor or something. So either either they would hit Draco Meteor and it wouldn't affect Zamazenta because it's fairy, or they would try to use like some kind of electric move or something, and my Zamazenta should be able to eat it up. But unfortunately, I'm going to get hit with Thunder Wave again. Dang it! Oh man, Thunder Wave. So they're going to go for the Electro Drift, and Incineroar does live. Barely, but the Citrus Berry will go off. I am so glad I stuck with the Citrus Berry. And Knockoff will also go off and get rid of the Assault Vest. But unfortunately, Zamazenta's paralysis kicked in. Oh well, what can you do, right? So, I'm thinking I could just go for another knockoff to try to get rid of the Grimmsnarl now because I do not want to deal with this set of Draco Meteors, but especially. I'm not Draco Meteor. What am I saying? I do not want to deal with Grimmsnarl trying to hit me with more T waves. And so I'm just going to take care of it now. And there you go. Grimmsnarl is taken care of. And so far, that's two Pokemon down. And my Miraidon's going to go for the Body Press. And I just realized I got the typings mixed up. I forgot. Man, I got it mixed up. Zacian is Steel Fairy. Zamazenta's Fighting Steel. I don't know why I keep getting those mixed up. But luckily, it still works in my favor. So I'm thinking I could just go for like another just offensive move, try to knock out the Miraidon. I'm gonna go for another Electro Drift. And like I said before, my Zamazenta just soaked that up like a sponge. And knockoff will go off and take care of the Miraidon. Alright, sweet. But the paralysis is gonna kick in again. Always the worst times. And they're gonna go and knock out my Incineroar. Dang. But luckily, it did do its job. So I'm actually in a. Normally, I'd be like, this is just GG because my Giratina is terrestrialized, so it won't. It's not weak to ice anymore. But the problem is, both my mons are freaking paralyzed. So, luckily, I am so sorry if you hear that in the background. That's a siren going by. That's like the third video I've recorded this week where there's like noise in the background. Sorry about that. So the Shadow Ball will go off, and it almost knocks out. Man, Calyrex, at least the Iceborne is so bulky, dude. So I'm thinking I could just go for like a Heavy Slam and go for another Shadow Ball because that should take care of it. But the paralysis kicked in this time. But Heavy Slam will go off. Almost knocks out. And they decided to go for Leech Seed. I guess they were thinking that they could if the paralysis kicks in again, they should be able to gain enough HP back, and they should probably be able to knock out my Pokemon with their Glacier. I forgot what it's called, but with their Ice move. And honestly, that is a smart plan. But luckily, okay, unfortunately, that happened again. Both my Pokemon have now been seeded, but luckily, Shadow Ball does go off. Oh man, thank goodness! And takes care of the Calyrex. Cool, because I'm pretty sure if another turn went by when the paralysis affected both of them, I'm pretty sure their Calyrex would have gained enough HP to where another Shadow Ball probably wouldn't be able to knock out. At least without setting up a Calm Mind. So, that's game one right there. Now we're on to game two. And, oh man, I hate Smurgle. I'm just going to be blunt. I hate dealing with Smurgle. So as soon as I saw that thing, it's old flashbacks is triggered, and I was like, I am getting rid of that thing. I do not, because again, every time I see Smurgle, I just think that thing is gonna spam Dark Void, gonna spam Spore, anything like that. I do not want to deal with it, so I'm gonna try to knock that thing out quickly. So they did terrestrialize into Ghost, which is a smart move. So, unfortunately, Fake Out won't do anything to it, but luckily, right away, I was going to go and have my Giratina just start attacking. Yep, and it goes off, almost knocks out, almost. But unfortunately, Draco Meteor, the sad side effect, special attack will go down, so I'm thinking I should probably just switch out my Giratina and just go for a knockoff because I want to get rid of the Smurgle, but I also want to get rid of Cerulege as well. So, yeah, and they're one of the annoying things about Smurgle. I went for the follow me. Luckily, I protected this turn. I protected instead of just blatantly switching out my Giratina because I wanted to play with their head a little bit. I wanted to use Protect so that way I would try to make them think that I wasn't going to switch out just yet. So they would go for another Shadow Claw so I could just switch out to my Zamazenta next turn. So let's see. I'm thinking, yeah, I just pretty much just do that right here. And I'm thinking, what's more important to go after? But I also remember that Masquerada has an ability that's pretty much Protein. So I'm just gonna go for the knockoff to try to hit the Cerulege. One, that way there's no more ghost, super effectiveness on my Giratina, but also because at least I would know that it's gonna stay ghost. And that pretty much did work out in my favor because it knocked out quickly. And that took care of that one. Alright, so my opponent's down 2 Pokemon, so I'm in a pretty good position actually. And they're going to go with Miraidon. So I'm thinking I could just go with a Wide Guard in case they try to like Dazzling Gleam or something, or Discharge. But I should have, in retrospect, I probably should have protected instead because I'm pretty sure. Okay, yeah, the Wide Guard's gonna go off because, like I said, they're gonna use like Dazzling Gleam or something, and they go for the Play Rough. I'm thinking I gotta switch out my Incineroar, that because since Masquerada is a physical hitter, this way I can have the Intimidate working it again. Yeah, I should have protected instead because I actually went for the Electro Drift. I probably should have saw that coming. But hey, luckily the parting shot does go off, so I'll be able to switch out into my Tornadus. Now, I was thinking to myself, if I switch out into Tornadus, most likely they're going to go after my Tornadus with the electric move. But that's fine because I'm just going to switch. I'm just going to try to basically, hopefully it lasts one turn is what I was hoping for. So, but if I remember right, I also terrestrialize here because I'm running terrestrialized ground. Actually, might be a better option. I'm using terrestrialized steel because if this way, like ice and rock, won't will do won't be super effective when if they my tornadoes got hit by one of those types. But maybe I should try ground instead. That way, electric won't do anything. Because Rhydon is everywhere right now. So I might change up the terrestrialization on my tornadoes for next week. Let me know in the comments what do you think, ground or stick with steel. Let me know in the comments what you think. So they're gonna go for steel. Thank God I terrestrialized because a super effective hit would have knocked it out. So I'm thinking Tailwind is already set out, so I can just try to do some chip damage because my tornadoes is gonna either my tornadoes or my Zalman Sentinel is gonna get knocked out this turn. So I might as well just go for like try to do some chip damage. And luckily, the storm does slow down the Miraidon, so that means my Zamazenta got a free body press before one of them got knocked out, so that's good for me. And it's pretty much just GG's here. I could pretty much just go with either one, Incineroar or Giratina, and I got it. I'm going to go with Giratina. And I'm just going to go for another body press and just go for Shadow Ball. Again, it could be either one. And Zamazenta actually stole the hit right there. Alright, cool. Yeah, I think, like I said, I probably will try Terrestrialization Ground for next week. And that's game two, so we're on to the third game. Alright. Let's see. And my opponent is going to start off with Iron Hands and Flutter Mane. Okay, so the Intimidate will go off, and obviously it does hit the Iron Hands, which is good. Now, Iron Hands usually like to go for the Fake Out first, so obviously they won't do anything to Giratina, but I'm thinking I could either just try to, I could just Terrestrialize right here, my Incineroar, and just try to do some damage already. Instead of using a Fake Out myself, I don't want to deal with the Flutter Mane, so I'm just going to go for a knockoff. Even though it's Ghost and Fairy, so only do normal damage, this way I can get rid of whatever item it's holding. So I'm just going to withdraw Giratina instead. I really wanted to set up the Calm Mind, but in the long run, I think this is a better idea. So yeah, I'm going to Terrestrialize my Incineroar right now into Ghost. Let's see. That is so cool. I just love the little ghost floating on top. And it pretty much didn't even matter because he went for the protect right away, which is fine. Let's see. Oh, they didn't even go for the fake out. They went for Drain Punch, which still works out for me. So I'm just going to fake out as well on the Iron Hands and just have, like I said, Incineroar just go after the Flutter Mane. Let's see. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so my opponent is actually going to Terrestrialize himself into Poison. That's really interesting. I'm too used to most Terrestrializations being like Ghost or Fairy, that sort of stuff. So I wasn't expecting Poison. It's pretty cool. Let's see. And luckily, again, thank goodness for the Citrus Berry, dude. And Knockoff will go off and almost knock out. Volt Switch will also hit my Incineroar. Luckily, it did almost nothing. Let's see. And my opponent is going to switch out into... And it is Terrakion. Cool. You don't really see that too often. I really like Terrakion. Like I've said before, it's definitely my favorite of the sword Pokemon. The other one, the Keldeo is for, part of. I really like those ones. So I'm thinking I could just try to... I want to focus on the Flutter Mane because I do not want to deal with, because again, Giratina is Ghost and Dragons, so I don't want to deal with either one of those going after Giratina. Let's see. I'm going to go for the Grassy Glide. Almost knocks out. Almost. Stone Edge hits Incineroar, but luckily it did live, but unfortunately the Protect. And everyone's going to gain HP back, which is good for me, but they also gain HP back, so I got to be careful how I do this. So I'm thinking I could just switch out into... I didn't want to put Giratina out there until I knew the Flutter Mane was taken care of, because Terrakion wouldn't really be able to do much against Giratina since it's fighting and rock moves will still hit it, but fighting moves won't do anything. So the high horsepower will go off, and that does knock out Fluttermane. And let's see. And the Terrakion will still gain HP, but so will my Urshifu. Which does suck that unfortunately Urshifu did get hit, but luckily it did survive. And they're going to send back out their Iron Hands. Okay, cool. So I'm thinking an Aqua Jet should just take care of the Terrakion. But I'm going to play it safe, and instead I'm going to use Detect first. Just to see what my opponent's going to go for. Let's see. Let's see. My opponent is going to... Okay, so I'm going to withdraw Rillaboom first and go out into Incineroar because Incineroar is close to being knocked out, so I'd rather just have an Intimidate go off. That way neither of their Pokemon will really hit that hard. And Detect will go off, and they're going to try to use Fake Out on Rillaboom. On my Urshifu. Why did I say Rillaboom? And luckily, Detect did take care of that, so I'm good. Everyone will gain some HP, so that will actually do well for Incineroar in the long run. Although one good hit, and unfortunately, Incineroar should be knocked out soon. So I'm thinking I'm just going to go for the Aqua Jet and try to knock out the Terrakion quickly. Let's see. Especially since Iron Hands, besides Fake Out, knows mostly fighting and electric moves. And obviously, fighting won't do anything to Giratina, and electric won't really do much either. So, if I can just get rid of their other Pokemon, Giratina should easily be able to take care of the Iron Hands, because it really won't be able to hit for that much. And they're going to switch out into... Well, first off, unfortunately, Urshifu did get knocked out. And they're going to go into Zacian. Oh man, anyone still get flashbacks to how back in Sword and Shield how overpowered Zacian was? I do. All right, so I'm gonna switch out to Rillaboom, and it's gonna reset up the grassy terrain. So unfortunately, my opponent also will gain HP back, but so will I. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna because they already terrestrialized, so I don't gotta worry about them terrestrializing their Zacian. So I can just try to go for Flare Blitz. Let's see. Okay. So Fake Out will go off. It flinches. Stone Edge, and I got lucky right there. I'm not even going to front. That was luck right there. Although sometimes it pays to be lucky, honestly. So that's good for me. And, okay, let's see. Because, yeah, there's no way my Incineroar would have lived the Stone Edge. Let's see. Okay, let's... Zacian. These moments in between, right? Let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to use Grassy Glide and get rid of the Terrakion now. That way I could just focus on the Zacian. And that almost knocks out. But Flare Blitz will also go off and take care of the Zacian. Sweet. And Incineroar sadly hurt by Recoil. And if I remember right, they still, though, have their Iron Hands. Which, again, is fine. Because, again, Iron Hands won't do anything to Giratina. Yeah. I mean, it can go ahead and try to Fake Out and Rillaboom. That's fine. A Shadow Ball should easily come close to knocking it out. I was really tempted to go for the Draco Meteor just to do it now, but I was worried about Draco Meteor missing, if I'm being honest. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, I had a feeling they're going to go for the Fake on Rillaboom, and Shadow Ball will go off. Doesn't knock out, but it does do decent damage. So I could just go for like a Draco and just go for also like a high horsepower to knock it out, honestly. So Grassy Glide will go off almost And Draco Meteor actually hits. All right, cool. Because I was really worried about that missing like last time. And that's GG right there. All right. That was a really good game, if I'm being honest. Uh, I'm not gonna lie though, I did get lucky with that Stone Edge, but I still had Giratina, so I don't think I would have still lost. I think I still would have won, but I think though it would have been a lot more closer if the Stone Edge did hit my Incineroar, because then Zacian would have been in for another turn, and one hit from Zacian could be a problem. But luckily, I did get lucky right there. So let me know in the comments if you've made it this far what you thought. Like I said, if you have any recommendations for any teams, EV spreads, yes, just overall, if you have any ideas, let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great weekend. Take care. Bye.